Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Creators Outlet Podcast. Please subscribe, comment, and share, and join our YouTube family over at youtube.com/C/Creators Outlet. Remember, this is always a podcast, so if you can't listen to the entire show, you can download it later on tonight anywhere you get a podcast from. Today, we'd like to welcome our special guest, Alton of Witches of Westchester.
Hello,
how are you?
Great, man. Glad to be here.
So we talked a little bit before, and I realized you were the guy behind Vampires of New Jersey.
Yeah.
Campaign I saw a few years ago and thought it looked awesome. But by the time I saw it, it was here and gone, and it went out. And does this book coincide in that universe, or is this a totally different thing?
No, it's all shared universe. I introduced Witches of Westchester, I think, in Vampires number 6.
Okay.
So it all kind of links together.
Cool. And Blackjack is in the same universe too?
Yeah, he is. Right now, he's a grounded science fiction superhero. So he's kind of separate from the horror verse that I'm creating. Mm-hmm. But he's in the same universe. And I'm actually just about to write Vampires 10, which I think will be the end of the first volume, because I wanted to do thing I hated when I was a kid. You know, you buy a Marvel or DC book and you get into it, and then they change the artist, and it kind of threw me off as far as the storyline. Yeah. So I've been working with the same artist. I wanted to do 10 straight issues with them to have a nice solid body of work. And I'm going to pull an end game in issue 10 of Vampires and try pulling everybody from my shared universe into it. So Blackjack will be, more prevalent then. But yeah, it's all in one universe. Very cool. I live in Jersey, so it's all, it starts out usually based in Jersey or Philadelphia, where I was born, or like East Coast, and then I go across the country. Blackjack actually travels. Well, he's over there, right? Actually travels across the country. He has powers that change without his control. So 1 week he can fly, then he can't. 1 week he's super strong, and then he's not. So he takes a trip across the country to find other people like himself to see why he is the way he is. It's like X-Files meets Unbreakable.
So, very cool.
But yeah, they're all scripts that I wrote and then, storyboarded with a comic artist. And then I put in my local store and people started buying them. So then I'm like, I'm doing comics now instead of film, which is cool.
Yeah, it worked out fine because you work from home. Yeah. And last year it must have come in handy.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because even with the Kickstarter, I had been, I guess I've been doing Vampires in New Jersey started about 2017. And I put the book in 25 stores and it's sold out. All the issues have sold out. So I had some fans sit me down last January before this year. And they were like, dude, we really like what you're doing. You need to do a Kickstarter so that you can reach more people. And I was like, well, I did an Indiegogo in 2019 and it crashed and burned after 3 days. I was horrible at it. And they were like, no. We think we have this plan where, you use cover artists that are well known, you work with them and create something new and yada, yada, yada. And that's how I got into Kickstarter. And my first Kickstarter started right after everything shut down. I think shut down was in end of March and my Kickstarter was for April. And I'm like, oh my God, the whole world's falling apart. Should I be doing this Kickstarter? But guess what? It turned out people were in their houses. They wanted something different and it funded, relatively quick.
They wanted something to read, and Diamond shut down and quit shipping books to anybody.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was insane.
It's like, apparently they want the indie market to thrive like it has been.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened because I was in stores, so I've developed a good relationship with store owners, local store owners between Philly and as far north as Jay and Silent Bob's up around that area. I've sold out there a couple of times, and Mike always tells me, and I actually did get to meet Kevin Smith up there, and he liked my book because I was going up just to thank him for putting it in there. I'm like, dude, you put my book next to Marvel and DC and it sold out. He was like, yeah, that's what I love. I love, indie stuff. But it hurt, a lot of local comic guys by Diamond not being able to do anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people online were able to do a lot of things. And I actually met a lot of people I wouldn't have met otherwise, I don't think, because they usually do cons and they're usually more out. And now they had to be in. So it was a good and bad time, but good for networking and meeting people online.
Yeah, I mean, I started doing this show a little over a year and a half ago, and I'm fast approaching 200 episodes.
There you go.
I do 3 to 4 of these a week.
Congratulations.
I do the Sean Zella Art Show on Wednesday.
Pat yourself on the back, Will. That's a lot of media creation. That's not.
And I do another show with a buddy of mine from Outright Geekery who
Nice.
We hit the virtual spinner rack and we go through and we read a book and talk about it once a week, but it's all older back issues. We've done from gold into silver, bronze.
Nice.
And because we're 2 old guys that like comics, we named the show Okay Boomer the podcast.
There you go.
So
educate them.
Everybody's like goes, I know you do 3 shows. I finally remember Creators Outlet. And Okay Boomer. What was the other one? I go, the art show with Sean. He goes, oh yeah. He goes, I was just on that last week. I go, I know. So it's been it's been a crazy ride. It keeps me busy.
Yeah.
I get to do my napping during the day if I'm not busy doing stuff and taking care of health issues and everything. So kick back in bed and been reading some indie stuff.
Yeah.
And enjoying myself for the most part,
Good, man. That's good to hear.
So where did the idea for this whole universe thrive from?
Well, I remember I was shooting a film in Philadelphia called Who is Jose Luck? It was like a low level mob movie that I wrote, and I've owned a production company since 2004. So
oh, nice.
I did commercials for Comcast and short films for a long time, and then by 2010, I was like, well, we should do like a full length film. So I ended up working with a lot of local actors in Philadelphia, and on the set, I remember one day. Early on, one of the guys came in and he goes, dude, have you seen True Blood? And I was like, no. And he's like, oh, you got to see it. It's incredible. It's incredible. Well, I never saw it. So then later on, after the show went off the air, somebody gave me the DVDs to, watch them whenever I get a chance. And I started watching them. And I was like, wow, this is great. This very Southern Gothic thing. And I was like, I wonder what would happen if they showed up in Jersey. What would Tony Soprano say? So that became the pitch, kind of, True Blood meets The Sopranos. And from there, I was working on my doctorate. And when you do that, you write like 200 pages, you give it to your committee, and they tell you it sucks. You throw it out and you start writing again. And to just release myself from, that mental torture, I said, I want to write something that I don't have to worry about. Because, when you do independent film, you really don't write some giant epic script to blow everything up and end of the world because you're like, that doesn't fit in the budget. So I've always wrote kind of to spec. And I said, I'm just going to write something totally like, let it go and see what comes out. And that was Vampires in New Jersey 1. And I posted the idea online because everything I write is a script. I posted the idea online, and an artist, Mahathir Buang, who drew Silver Surfer for Marvel in the early 2000s, he liked it. And he was like, oh, this is a great idea. I want to do this. I want to work with you. And I didn't even know who he was. But my wife, who doesn't collect comics, she just looked at it just from an artistic perspective, and she said, "I'm looking at all these artists, and this guy's the best. And if you're going to do a comic, do a good one." So I ended up working with him, and he helped do storyboards, the basics for the first 3 issues. And from there, I have worked with Connor Cole, who actually works for a big company out on the West Coast as an animator, the House of Mouse. But I'm his side gig. So when he's not getting called by them and he has free time, he's been doing Vampires in New Jersey. And we're up to issue 8 will be out by Halloween. So
good timing.
What was that?
Good timing.
Well, we try. Certain times of year are better for him. And right now, pushing it out, actually right around Thanksgiving, they usually get some big order to do something, animation wise. When you see one of those Avengers films and you see all those little names going by for who created what, that's he's in there somewhere.
He's in there somewhere doing stuff. Yeah.
But that's basically it. I wanted to do something a little different, mix genres together and see what comes out. I took the first issue to my local store, Ron's Comic World in Mount Holly, New Jersey, where that's my store where I buy my comics. And I was like, Ron, I do films. I don't know what to do with this. And he goes, the paper's good, Al, let me put it in and we'll see, And the next day my buddy texts me, he's like, dude, I went to get your comic and it's sold out. Yeah. And that was about 4 years ago. So from there, I started doing cons. People would go to cons, they go home, and then they come on Facebook or Vampires in New Jersey, and they go, dude, just put your comic in my local store, And I would say, yeah, I'll do that, but I don't actually know your local store. So that's how I ended up in stores. People were literally going and requesting it. And, most of the stores were nice enough to put me in there, and then it started selling. So.
And it just goes up from there.
It's been
this is a big question. Have you talked to Varian Grant over at Liberty?
No, I mean not about. You mean about working with them?
It would be after the fact. They do. They have Indie Volt Radio, TV.
Yeah, I'm on their shows pretty often, so I'm familiar with them. I haven't talked specific. I talk to them. I haven't talked to them about what I do and what they do.
Well, it was just an idea because he's distributing to well over 100 stores nationwide now.
I know he's growing, and he's been building, so that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm looking for distribution, so I guess I will be talking to him now.
Yeah, it's a good idea, and since you're a regular on the show, you already know their discount code for Gemini mailers.
Yeah, I'm familiar with them. Got to have those mailers, man. They keep it safe.
I got a stack of them over there for whenever I sell stuff.
Yeah, they keep them safe.
And this campaign comes with an art book as well.
Yeah, last time I did Bunny Goes to Space, and I did Vampires in New Jersey. I did 2 Kickstarters for it, and I work with a lot of other creators like CB Zane, Wendy Steen Shaner, Steph Wilson, April Raina. So I noticed a lot of the successful campaigns on Kickstarter had women, as leads, which was cool. So I said, well, I want to develop something specifically for the Kickstarter market, for Kickstarter people. So I came up with a character, Bunny Goes to Space, and she's like Harley Quinn meets Barbarella. So it's kind of like a retro 60s throwback look.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So I said, well, I want to test the character before I actually put her out, really see if people even think it's a good idea. So I said, I'll do an art book. And I'll go to each artist and say, look, here's the idea for the character. You give me your interpretation of the character. It could be anything the way you see her. And that will help me inform whether people want it and how to create the actual comic, what the comic should probably look like. It's like feedback from people. And I was like, well, I don't know. I have an idea how this is going to go. Well, actually, it was the biggest thing I did. It did 17,000 on Kickstarter, and then another 3.5 on Indiegogo. So,
Nice.
and that was an art book, you know. So I said, well, I've been writing these stories, and I have comics ready to go. I usually write ahead. You know, I try and write like 2 or 3 issues ahead. So for Witches of Westchester, I have had the comic. I was actually going to release it before, you know, around when COVID hit. But of course it got delayed. So I said, well, I'll do an art book since people really do like the idea of an art book, which is basically a collection of the covers. You know, you don't have to buy every single cover. You can buy the art book and then you have a collection of the covers. And then with Bunny, it was pick your own cover. So, you know, it worked out. It just seemed to be something that people really enjoyed, you know. But I also want to, you know, I did write the comic, and the comic is fairly entertaining. So I want to give people a choice: get one, get the other, or get both. Doesn't matter, whatever you like, you know.
And let's take a look at that now. So, 10 days to go. You're at 10,470 with 188 backers.
Yeah, thank you, backers.
Yeah, I mean, good numbers.
Yeah, it's building. You know, this is my 4th Kickstarter. So, you know, I always tell people the key is, you know, promotion before, work hard during, and then, you know, fulfill. You got to deliver. You know, that's the most important thing. Give people what they ask for you know, when you say you're going to give it to them. Things happen along the way, of course, that make it hard to do that, but do your best to get that fulfillment right. And then people, you know, will follow you, which is pretty much the way it's been going. So,
yeah, that works out.
Yeah.
You know, if I find that even with the hiccups, during the course of, because you could have problems with the printer,
right,
or you know, there could be any kind of, you know, flub, paper shortage, you know, what have you. As long as you're communicating on regular updates to all your backers,
that's the key.
Most of them are just like, yeah, cool, okay,
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah, they've been pretty flexible, and you do go through that, you know. Switching of printers because they can't, you know, they're, you know, a lot of printers I use aren't the biggest printers. Some of it, you know, when you do naughty and nice, there are printers that won't print naughty. So, you know, you have to find people who are willing to work with you. And just, you know, like you said, I think you're right. The communication is key because, you know, for me as a consumer, if I can't get it when you say I'm going to get it, you can at least take the time to explain why, you know, and that you're working on it. So, yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, I talked to one of the last campaigns I got in was from Matt Knowles and Steph Cannon. Their dual campaign, and they sent it to. I ordered their catch-up tier because I had never actually read anything. So I got Matt's trade paperback, which is almost 400 pages.
Wow.
And I got Steph's trade paperback, which is 152 pages.
Nice.
Plus all the cool extra things, you know, all the perks and stuff that were in there. I got a challenge coin from him, like a glow in the dark guitar pick.
Oh wow.
Which has Matt's emblem on one side and Steph's on the other.
I like
and, which is wicked cool. And
it is.
And Matt's got a very heavy metal band.
Really? Nice.
And he does an album for each Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's cool.
And a friend of his came in who he's played with. They've been friends since they were kids. And he laid down a bunch of tracks for him like he usually does. But 11 days afterwards, this guy passed away in a fatal car accident.
Oh.
Somebody ran a stop sign or a light and ended his life, sadly, much too young. But they did a homage cover of that guitarist sitting on the Game of Thrones Iron Throne, except the throne was made up of every single guitar this guy ever owned or played.
That's sweet.
And
That's tribute.
All the proceeds from that were donated to his family to help out.
Nice.
So I think just about everybody that was a backer on that campaign, when they heard of that, bought it. So I've got 2 trades I'm trying to go through, plus the main issue, and I was a DJ for 30 years.
Nice.
2016, I ended up in a coma. I died on the operating table.
Oh my God.
And then apparently hell sent me back. I'm in a wheelchair now, limited mobility, but I'm still here.
That's right.
But my love of music has never died, and I saw that you could either buy an MP3 download,
right,
the CD, or you could buy a splatter vinyl. And I'm like, okay, splatter vinyl, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm like, because I will play that once to hear the sound off the vinyl,
right,
and then it'll get hung up in like a vinyl frame, and the colors on that album jacket and the actual piece of vinyl will look wonderful underneath a black light. So
that's very cool. I do music, and I was thinking, literally, when they had me on Pitches Be Crazy. It got to the point where they said, do a song of your comic, and my guitars and stuff are right over there. So I just plugged in and started playing, and it's the first time I played in about 2 years, and I was thanking them for it because I have a herniated disc that affected my ear, and my ear has been off for a while. But it's like your love of music in general. You never lose that, But whenever I used to write, when I was doing, films, short films or whatever, I would think music, because to me, your favorite film moments have some type of background music that click in your head.
Yeah.
It could be the mandolin from The Godfather, or from Friday the 13th, or it's always something oral that connects with it. So when I would write, I would think of music, and I haven't done that with the comics. So that's brilliant. I'm gonna start thinking like that again, because you can create it. It inspires you to create in different ways, and it's fun.
And just a little tip on that note. Matt found out this year, because there was music involved in his campaign,
right,
that you can alternate week to week,
right,
where you list your Kickstarter, because there was an album involved. So week 1, it gets listed under comics. Week 2, it gets listed under music. And when people realize there's a comic and art and stuff involved,
there you go.
Oh,
that is sweet. I like that.
So just something to keep in mind. Be like, I like to pass along like little tricks when I actually learn that.
Yeah.
Being an old dog and all,
Yeah, you have to. That's great. I love that. That's
so
perfect.
I'm like, I go, that's awesome. He goes, because even if somebody just buys the album, now you've got an entire brand new audience like every 2 weeks that wasn't aware of anything you were doing. So
opening up a whole different bunch.
Yeah.
A whole different bunch of people. Yeah.
Plus they did glow in the dark leather turntable mats.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And I'm like, oh, I want one so bad. Yeah. I don't have enough money because I had to buy all your books.
Yeah.
I'm like, I go, I still haven't found my 1200s. They're still in a box somewhere. I go, hopefully, but the good news with all that is I stayed in contact with Matt, and I've known Matt for a couple of years now. Right. He was one of the first guests on this show.
Cool.
And I said, I see you guys are going and picking up books, and then a day later, you're locking up books and bringing a certain amount with you because you're at a convention.
Right.
When am I getting my stuff?
Yeah.
And he goes, we started mailing out last week. Your boxes, both your boxes. I go, both. He goes, yeah. One trade and extra stuff is coming. My trade and extra stuff is coming in one Gemini, and Steph's trade, the 2 copies of the book and the trading cards are coming in the other one. I go, oh, neat.
There you go. 1-2 punch.
Yeah, and the album wasn't supposed to be shipped till November. I go, cool, my birthday. But now it's shipping this month.
Oh, nice.
They finished everything with the album, so it'll be out by the end of this month. So probably in about 2.5 weeks, they'll start shipping them. I'm like, yes,
good deal.
So I want to take a look at your trailer.
Oh yeah, by Lisa Malone of Malone Management.
Oh, very good. I know all those fine folks.
Think Buffy meets The Craft, with Evil Dead thrown in. Meet the Witches of Westchester. The art book and the first issue of the comic book is now available on Kickstarter. Witches of Westchester is part of Alton Simpson's Shared Universe comic series, with art by C.B. Zane, Lance Footer, Wendy Steen-Shaner, Trevor Grace, Axe Bone, Gregorio Lagarino, Sean Howe, Steph Wilson, Carrie Ann, April Grady Reyna, and UK model Asia Miriam. Get both our nice and naughty covers now. Check out the Kickstarter today.
Very cool.
Yeah, it worked out. I get lucky with the artists that I work with. They usually bring something I didn't even think of to the table and create something different with what I give them, and it's always interesting, So I'm very lucky like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of great covers in here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Besides Sean's.
Yeah. Yeah, his is excellent. I mean, he's another one, we just friended, and then, he told me more about what he did. And I was like, yeah, dude, if you want to work with us, let's do it. And his stuff came out beautiful. Really talented.
I love his artwork. I've got a piece down here.
Yeah.
He sent me, I'm a huge Joker fan, Cesar Romero specifically.
Yeah, what's funny? I turned on the Love Boat today. I was flicking channels and a Love Boat came on, and I'm like, the Love Boat. I go, well, I got to see the beginning to see, when they show who's going to be on. And it was like Spock's mom was on, and then her boyfriend was Cesar Romero. And I was like, so the Joker and Spock's mom. I'm like, how cool is that?
That's some freaky stuff right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always getting, like, if I go to a show, which I haven't been to one since 2019,
right?
I always get a sketch or a piece of the Joker.
Yeah.
And Sean sent me this.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, this is
it's classic.
Batman 66 is what brought me into comics when I was a wee lad.
Yeah.
I am no longer wee. But yeah, I even my most recent one I got was from an indie creator out of New Zealand.
Oh wow, that's classic. That's like right back to
Like Dick Sprang, yeah. I was like, nice. I went to go put it in a sleeve, but their paper is just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But he sent me his entire run up to date in all a family book that he does out there, and everything's like oversized because it's like the UK size.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like because you get more of the art that way.
Right.
So I found it interesting. He just did his first convention for the first time in almost 3 years.
Wow.
This past weekend, so that was lucky.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of sexiness in this book, dude.
Well, yeah, it's it's women who go to the College of Westchester University, and they're sexy chicks. I mean,
It's college,
and their professor is kind of hot, and she trains them in which ways. And the bad guy or bad woman, lead old dark, she's kind of smoking. So yeah, it's got a sexy element to it. My pitch for this, I think, is Buffy meets The Craft with some Evil Dead thrown in. So I have like some super dark elements in it, but I try and keep it, fun along the way. Mystery,
a little lightheartedness.
Yeah.
Well, I like all three of those things. So
yeah, me too. So, but yeah, I like to try a few different things. At this point, I've got I'm actually writing Bunny #1 now. So next year I'll have 5 titles. I think that's more than enough for an indie creator. And
that's quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of release every quarter. I'll try and get something out. But I also the stores, and it is funny because you were mentioning you had placed an order, and then the person was doing cons too. You really get pulled from all different directions, once you start doing Kickstarters, because it's like I'm in stores, and I know there are stores that have asked me for orders that I haven't fulfilled yet because I just haven't gotten around to them because I'm so overwhelmed as just me doing the Kickstarter. But I think the Kickstarter is special because it's a direct connection with the consumer. Everything else filters you. This is a direct thing. So to me, it's a special relationship that I never want to break that bond. But I love being in stores. Nothing beats sitting in a store signing.
Oh yeah.
It's just a good time. And when I was a kid, we didn't even have stores. I was at the 7-Eleven spinner rack all the time in the 70s and 80s. So
yeah, my friends and I were all at either like a local 5 and 10 or the local pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
There was like before CVS and Walgreens and stuff bought out everybody.
Right. Local drugstore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And local family owned drugstore, and the whole family worked there. And every Sunday, if I was good that week, my mother would drag me up the top of the street. We'd cross over the main road and go to Merlin's Pharmacy. My mother would get the Sunday paper for the coupons, and I would get a 3-panel Spider-Man strip in color. So I was thrilled. Yeah. And if I behaved, she would give me whatever change she got from prescriptions and odds and ends that she picked up to buy one, on rare occasion, usually just my birthday and Christmas weeks, 2 comics. So, but then again, they were like 25, 30, 35 cents a pop back then. I'm like, I just wish they were still that.
Yeah, they were fun days.
So that's where my love of comics grew. And I still have the very first book I ever bought with my own money.
Really? What was it? You're gonna have to. You got to tell me.
Detective Comics 447. It's got Creeper on the cover, kicking the crap out of Batman at the Gotham Zoo, and the lions just happen to be out.
That's fantastic. I was just talking about Creeper on another podcast.
Oh, nice.
A guy created a character. Oh, I can't remember the name of his character, but he's doing a Kickstarter now, and he said that it was like, his version of Creeper. And I was like, that's such a fantastic character. I wish they would get around to using him. He is out of control and probably insane, but he's so much fun, I
like the original version. They did one a few years ago where they kind of like destroyed the character. Yeah, they basically turned Creeper into the DC Spawn.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not who Creeper is.
No.
Sorry, you're doing it wrong again, DC.
Yeah. That's
why I'm buying independent.
Yeah, he's a fantastic character.
I'm buying independent and back issues.
That's a great cover, man. That I can almost see that cover. That's amazing.
So we got some cool stretch goals, some of which are already all unlocked.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because I had a top tier person buy something last time. With top tier, you're like, oh my God, I got to ship this giant box full of stuff, and you want it to be perfect, and you're like, I got to make this person happy.
Mm-hmm.
He gets all this stuff. I mean, he literally gets everything. And then I get an email. I'm like, oh no, he sent me a message. And he's like, everything is perfect, but you left out the stretch goals. And I'm like, people love those stretch goals. They really do. So Wendy has taught me stretch goals are very important. So I'm very focused on those because I know they're an important part of why people do a Kickstarter, and they're cool looking. When they come in, I look at them, I'm like, wow. Like last time I did a poker chip and all these other things because Wendy and Lisa were working together with me on it. And they just throwing stuff at the wall like, this sounds cool, let's try that. This sounds cool, let's try that. And I was like, yeah, it sounds cool. If we, if I can source it so I can, actually get my hands on it without too much trouble and ship it, then let's do it, And I got lucky with Wendy. Wendy actually makes poker chips in her house. So she actually made me poker chips. I go, where am I getting poker chips? She goes, I make them. I'm like, you make them. But, it's good to know somebody, as we say in Jersey.
Yeah, there's a bunch of hobbits in her basement, and they're just slaving away at the poker
Nothing going on, man. She's got that magic,
There's nothing going on. Making extra poker chips when they go to the casino. I got a poker chip I bought Monty Moore's Blood and Bullets.
Right.
And there was a poker chip, and one side was his logo, and the other side was the logo for the book.
Nice.
And I'm like, I got a poker chip.
Yeah.
Nobody will play cards with me.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
I like the poker chips, and I like the coins. I think Brian Polito got everybody hooked on the coins. So
yeah, lady does amazing. I work with on a few campaigns with Karen Nicole, and the first time I met her was C2E2 just before everything went south last year.
Mm-hmm.
And she was dressed as Lady Death, and it was just like amazing. Like, to see her dressed like that.
Yeah, pretty much everything she dresses as looks amazing.
Yeah.
And
I call it a chameleon because sometimes she posts a picture, and I'm, you're scrolling on Facebook, and I look at it, I go, oh, okay, and then I have to go back. I go, that's Kara. It's amazing, She actually volunteered to took an interest in Bunny and wanted to do her version of Bunny Goes to Space, which came out wonderful.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And because I live on, I'm living on Social Security and stuff, so I'm like, limited budget, and I found a bunch of keys in my comic collection that I sold, which I bought more comics with.
Of course.
They were all indie campaigns, but sadly I'm out of money, and I've overextended myself, so I'm on a hiatus from being able to buy anything for a couple of months.
Yeah, you got to take a break every once in a while there.
Yep, gonna take a break. I did pick up a shop had an exclusive Virgin variant of her Fire Bitch #1.
Right.
And it was her dressed as Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
Okay, it was her with Ahsoka's headdress and a lightsaber and nothing else.
That's a classic.
That's why I bought it.
Yeah.
I go, ooh, Ahsoka's hot now. Ahsoka's really hot now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So far, all your backers had the Asia Mariam card.
Yeah, she's an Instagram model that I saw, and she was very striking, and I was like, "You're like, are you, do you have like tons of money for clothes, or are you a signed model?" And she's literally somebody who creates her own look all the time, like a lot of different looks. And I approached her. I said, "Well, I'm doing this comic, yada yada yada," and she was like, "Oh, that's fantastic." Now she's over in England. She lives in London, and she was nice enough to help me out with the campaign. So she did some covers and some prints, and we put a pack together for her. So I was happy to be able to introduce her to, the comic world and American audiences.
Yeah, bigger community. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The 2K unlocked the infamous Sean Howe's mini print of his first cover.
Yeah.
Of his nice cover. And then he unlocked Lance Fodor's card.
Mm-hmm.
And Trevor Grace foil card. I'm just staring at his artwork. I'm sorry.
All right. Trevor's a wonderful artist. He always comes up with something different, and cool.
I can't imagine how shiny that's going to look in certain spots on that card.
Oh, yeah.
CB Zane, who did the main cover, correct?
Yeah. He's CB's really good at capturing an iconic look of my ideas. He came up with a bunny thing that was amazing, and his work on this, once again, naughty and nice, awesome stuff.
Yeah. So this is the bookmarks like right off the main cover.
Mm-hmm.
We get a Witches of Westchester logo sticker, the Bob Herron card.
Yeah, Bob's actually the interior artist on this.
Oh, nice.
He does fantastic. He does horror comics on his own, but he does really fantastic work.
And he's your interior artist for the first 10 issues, right? Oh no, that was the other book.
Yeah, well, I try when I start with somebody, I want to finish with them. So I'll go as far as he'll go. I would prefer 10 issues with each artist that I work with on each, because I'm literally lucky enough to have one individual artist who does everything on each comic. So if I can ride it out with them and keep it consistent, I'll do that.
Yeah, to keep that same look through.
Yeah.
Like a 10 issue arc is great.
Yeah.
The April Rayner mini print.
Mm-hmm.
Then Wendy
April's another one that does. April does amazingly different things with her art that strike me. And she does her own stuff. She just did a Kickstarter. I think she's done 2 since I met her. But she's another one who always comes up with her own spin on the characters, whatever the characters are.
And Wendy's foil card.
What can you say? My roommate from college keeps asking me who these girls are on Wendy's work. He wants their phone. He literally asked me for their phone numbers. And I'm like, dude, they're not real women, but they look like real women. And that's Wendy's magic. She can really create something special.
Oh, yeah. And the Axe Bone card is unlocked.
Yeah, Axe always does something iconic and bodacious, as we shall say.
Yeah, that's pretty bodacious.
Mm-hmm. Naughty and nice.
Oh, yeah. And then there's a whole bunch more stuff to unlock.
Mm-hmm.
The next card that would be unlocked at 11K would be the Steph Wilson card.
Yeah.
And Steph and Carrie Ann don't live far from me. We're about
Oh, really?
We're about an hour apart.
That's cool. I actually met Steph before he started doing a lot of art. It's almost like he exploded. I met him at a tiny con I did in Tom's River in January of last year. I was introduced by the one fan that wanted me to do Kickstarters, and he's like, "I want you to meet Steph and Carrie." And I met him. He showed me his art, and I'm looking at him like, "Wow, this is totally different." I've never seen anything exactly like this. And then I said, "Well, I do want to work with you on my Kickstarter when I get to it in April." Then all the craziness happened last year, and later in the year, he's like, "Al, you're the first person to like hire me." And I was like, "You're kidding?" Because by the time my Kickstarter started going, Steph was all over the place.
Oh yeah,
he's everywhere. Him and Carrie Ann.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I got to meet him in person, which was very cool.
Yeah, it was odd for me the first time I talked to him online, because I had them reversed. I thought Steph was Carrie Ann, and I didn't know what to think because I didn't know Carrie Ann's name yet.
Right.
And be like, Steph's a dude. I go,
that's funny.
And he's like,
that actually is funny.
He goes, don't worry, you're like one of like 500,000 people that think that because of the name.
Like a Seinfeld episode. That's funny, man.
But there's still a ton of stretch goals to unlock.
Yep.
And then we go in on the tiers. So you can get a digital copy of the art book for $10. Contains all the cover art from issue 1. Perfect. And the book itself is 30 pages of story.
Yep.
Story page count's important to me, especially in this day and age, where two other companies like to put out #1 issues and bulk them up with reprint stuff that we don't care about in the back.
Yeah.
To charge like $12 or $15 for. I go, how much does the story for the actual issue contain as story pages? Yours is 30 pages. I meant like theirs, and everything that I back, I look and go, so how many pages?
Yeah.
He goes, 60
for
$25. That's a deal.
Yeah, I usually write at least 30, and I write like 3 issues at once. So sometimes I give it to the artist, and they're like, well, we can end it. Like they look at what I write, and they're interpreting it. So they'll say, well, we could end it here. And sometimes it'll be like 34 pages, 35 pages, 32, which is weird when you send it to the printer because they're like, wow, this is like off. So then you want to put it like an ad of one of your other comics in or something but to me, it's like, because I'm an indie guy, the story ends where it should end, to make it interesting. So you want to read the next issue.
Yeah.
So I don't really care if it's 30, 35, 34, whatever, as long as it ends in that right spot that hits you so that you read it and go, wow, that's crazy. I got to see what happens next. That's where it's going to end.
Yeah, you got to have that good cliffhanger from issue to issue.
Yeah, and I've literally had some artists, draw before the cliffhanger, and I'm like, dude, you got to get to the cliff. You got to throw this last page, and that's what's going to hook them. So, but most of the artists I work with are pretty, savvy. They can tell the rhythm of the story and where it should cut.
Nice. And this is April's cover.
Mm-hmm.
Bob's cover is $10. Plus, so whenever you buy a physical copy of yours, you automatically get the PDF.
Yeah.
And, of course, all the stretch goals.
Right.
Trevor's very attractive cover.
Yes. He does not hold back.
No. Speaking of not holding back, here's X.
Yeah, his covers are always fun.
And this is Lance's cover.
Yeah, he's another artist who's grown just since I've known him. We worked on 3 campaigns, and he just gets better and better and better and more interesting. You know, I'm on his Instagram. I'm always looking at it going, oh my God, you know, I want that too. Can I throw that into my campaign? You know, he's a real talent.
And his cover definitely emotes the Craft movie there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I know this guy.
There you go.
And Asia's photo cover. And her son. Oh, I like this one.
Yeah, she's really striking. You know what I mean? And you see a lot of pictures on Instagram, and you just get numb to it. And then I saw her, like, just her usual out on the street in London, you know, posing or whatever. And it was like, wow, that's really striking. So, yeah, we got lucky with this.
She's got the creepy contacts in this one, too. So it's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, I said, I'm thinking, you know, American Horror Story, Coven type vibe. And she got it, you know, so. She's the real deal.
And then the physical art book is 15. And then all the naughty covers. So this is April's naughty cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she literally was like, how naughty can I get? I said, let it fly.
Naughty is naughty.
Yeah. I said, go for it, and we'll talk about it later. Let me see what you come up with. And brilliant work as usual.
Axe. Yeah, I was wondering how long it would take before her top busted open. That's a lot of pressure for one bikini top.
Yeah, it wasn't much holding that back. Yeah.
Yeah. His Sean's cover.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, it's a gorgeous cover. I love that one. And Gregorio's.
Yeah, he actually got excited and did another cover that we're going to release next week.
Oh, nice.
Which is cool, you know. That's what I like about the people I work with. They, you know, they get motivated by their own interest in the project. You know, sometimes I don't ask people, you know, to do anything extra, and they just go, well, you know, what do you think of this? And I'm like, well, I think it's brilliant. Can I can I use it? And they're like, yeah, that's why I did it. So very lucky that way.
Yeah, so many people once they're attached to a project, they just, you know, get into it and be like, hey, if you want to add this later,
yeah.
Keith's cover. And this is April's foil cover.
Mm-hmm.
And Wendy's cover. Axe's foil cover. Sean's foil cover. And Steph's cover. You can never mistake Steph's artwork anywhere.
No, it's that's what I mean. The first time I saw it, he handed it to me, and I was just like, I'd never seen anything like this before. but I knew it was like completely original, you know. And then later on, it was like
it's great. It's
I couldn't believe he was working with me by the time we got to my Kickstarter because he was in so many other Kickstarters. I was like, wow, Steph.
He did a Hooters waitress for Chuck Pino's Belial 2.
Yeah.
And I used the picture like cropped from head to midriff of the Hooters waitress, all covered. I used it for the pic for the video.
Right.
Hadn't even filmed the episode, and YouTube booted me.
It's hot, man.
You're a pig. You use boobs.
Hot stuff.
I'm like, oh, God almighty.
Yeah, well, it's artistic.
Yeah, I know. So I had to delete it, write it all up, and just use his regular cover on it.
Yeah.
CB's naughty cover. This reminds me of that Scott Baio movie, Zapped.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Heather. I forgot. Heather was in that. And Willie Ames.
Oh, this is going to look rad in the foil.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it funny that everybody complained about 90s comics? And now all the 90s gimmicks are like the coolest thing to, because there's like, a couple of generations that, missed the whole 90s boom. So,
yeah, that was crazy. Like 10 #1 issues, all bagged and all different.
Yeah.
You're like, I got to have them all. They were the days.
Superman died. I need 1 million of those issues. I'm going to send my kid to. Oh, no, I'm not. You're not sending your kid to college on the death of Superman.
Yeah.
The oldest comic book character in existence. You think he's really going to stay dead?
Yeah, that's true.
Sean's naughty foil. So the prices on the tiers are like, more than reasonable, I think.
Yeah, I work with Wendy as far as pricing, and I want people to be comfortable. I don't want anybody breaking the bank to get what they want to get. So I try and keep it fair.
The regular covers are 10. The naughty covers are 15. The foils are 25 to 30. We were joking around in the stream one day, like, why are you still single? I go, I blame Steph Wilson. I'm just looking for girls that are built like that.
Yeah, he's definitely ruined a lot of people. Yes.
I mean,
your standards are different now. That's for sure.
Between him and Joe Linsner, it's very difficult.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. I had some people that have been requesting Vampires of New Jersey comics and some other things. So we're going to add a catch-up pack where you can, have the whole shared universe if you like.
And Wendy's extremely naughty cover.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you go down, there's more tiers with a couple of different covers and tiers with the art book in the cover.
Yeah, mix it up, and you can always do add-ons. That add-on thing that they changed in the last, I guess, 6 months, 8 months. That's been pretty handy to allow people to get what they want to get. Slap something else together and make their own order, which makes sense.
Yeah, you could make a ton of different tiers like this of everything you think everybody's going to want.
Right.
And, like Like here, you got 2 different foil covers from Steph.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a naughty and a nice, and you know, it's like
most of it is based on what people bought previously, and they asked for it. They're like, I bought it like this last time. I'd like it like this time. So, I try
and this is a penultimate super pack of Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. Every time we put something together and I go, wow, that seems like a lot. And then somebody gets it. It's like, wow, somebody really wanted that, but you never know.
Well, plus you have an exclusive print for her on the campaign too.
Right.
So that gets people the exclusive print and then some.
Right.
And then we go into foil prints and books, and here we go. Shared Universe collection. 11 comics. Wow.
Yeah, I had people adding money and just emailing me. Oh yeah, I want to get all your Vampire New Jerseys and all that stuff. I'll just add on this much money and you just send it to me. Do you have them? And I'm like, well, yeah, I have the comics in my house, so I can get them to you. They're not part of the campaign. So I figured I'd just throw it on there in case people want to actually just get it,
11 physical comics.
Yeah. And then they can have the whole
Vampires in New Jersey 1 through 7. Werewolves of New Jersey 1.
Oh, it's Werewolves of Brooklyn. I'm going to have them change it.
Oh.
Russ, Werewolves of not everything happens in New Jersey.
Werewolves of Brooklyn, even though it's
they're a biker crew that lives in Brooklyn that just happen to be werewolves.
Oh yeah, I can see the back of the jacket.
Yeah, one guy read it and he said it's like Sons of Anarchy meets The Howling.
I love it already.
So yeah, it's actually a really fun comic. I'll tell Russ right now.
We should send one of those to Varian. I like the.
Thanks for pointing it out.
I like the vampires cover homage to Dark Knight Returns. There.
Yeah, literally after I did the first issue, it was on Comixology, and people were buying it all over the place. And a guy in England bought the first issue, and he's a portrait artist. So he's in England, in like London, with like a portrait studio. You're a duke or whatever. You come in, you get a real painting. And he was like, oh, I've been fascinated with Jack Kirby. I've been fascinated with American comics. I want to do covers for you. And he just started sending me covers. And I'm like, well, I show him to my wife. She's like, you got to pay this guy, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to pay him. But he's inspired by Frank Miller for that, And he actually took another picture he had where the character was leaping and did a variant of his own cover. And it had Dark Knight look to it. So it's a nice homage, came out really well.
Very cool. Steph Wilson Super Pack, including a Steph t-shirt.
Yeah, Steph's always got his followers.
Oh yeah.
It's very easy to put something together for them,
Super packs. Witches Brew Pack, all regular covers. $11 physical comics, all the regular covers from great cover artists from Witches of Westchester, plus digital and all unlocked stretch goals. Nice. Because there are those cover hoarders. And then of course the foil crew. Who's the Hoyles? Sorcery Supreme. Oh, these are the virgins?
Yep.
And don't forget our add-on section with everything else.
Yep.
Yeah, people could stay just like scrolling, looking through this for, hours on end.
Yeah, I know it's a bit much, but from the previous campaigns, I know the first one was pretty elaborate, and then the second one, I said, well, it doesn't have to be that elaborate, and I literally got complaints. So
Where's all the stuff?
Literally by the third one, I kind of got the right rhythm, so I'm trying to keep things kind of the same way.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't mean it like it's a bad thing.
No,
I mean, this is like, I know people that'll just like, sit and stare, especially at redheads.
Yeah.
And there's so much stuff in here. And the fact that, hey, you can get caught up and get everything.
If you want, yeah. I'm trying to just give people what they say they like. Like I said, that add-on thing really helps.
Oh yeah. The thing with me is I don't want to start in the middle of a story.
Right.
I want to be able to well, this started in this book.
Mm-hmm.
So Witches of Westchester started in issue 6 of Vampires in New Jersey.
Well, they were introduced.
They were introduced. Yeah, so that's their cameo.
But none of these characters were in that issue. They were just introduced.
They were introduced, but they didn't appear there.
Right.
So basically the premise of Witches.
Right. There were Witches of Westchester there, but not these Witches of Westchester.
No, these are the new candidates, right?
Oh.
As soon as I read Westchester, I'm just thinking, Xavier's School for the Gifted Youngsters, and and I'm like, that just sounds cool.
Yeah.
Oh wow, this looks great, dude.
Thank you.
I like the premise because you're combining like multiple things. With each book is like, a combination of a couple things, and and your imagination. So it's just, it's amazing.
Trying to shake it up,
it's all good.
What we like. I'm just trying to kind of, mix them together and come up with something a little different.
Yeah, just mash them up and see what comes out on the dinner table. Yeah.
Right. And so far, people seem to be enjoying it.
Oh yeah, it's all I can say is congratulations, because obviously it's funded and you're going into the last 10 days, and we all know like the last 4 or 5 days are usually a nice pick me up for the campaign.
Yeah.
And man, congratulations for being a comic book creator that is about to have 5 different titles under his belt on a regular basis. So
yeah, it's a little juggling, but if I can consistently get 1 or 2 issues out a quarter, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, that's still a good speed, and you're doing you're doing everything by yourself. So
yeah, well, I'm writing, and then
you're writing, but you're running the Kickstarters, and then you have to appear on all these shows and stuff.
Well, this is the fun part. Well, I get to talk to you.
Yeah, you get to go out and talk to other people, and hopefully get your book into new and exciting areas.
Yeah,
and
it's the fun part. Although I really do enjoy writing. Now that I started writing, this time of year is usually good for me, and I started writing Bunny 2 days ago, and I'm actually almost through the first issue. So
wow,
once I get into it and can relax and find that groove, I can kind of just roll through it. And I would like to write more issues for each series, but if I can get 3 issues out of Bunny right off the bat, that'll help me out for future, because when I send it to the artist, they get real comfortable if you can send them like a couple issues at once, because they go, okay, this dovetails into that, like they see the whole thing, so that's good.
They can see the bigger picture and go through and paint it in their mind before they get it on paper.
Right. So it's, I've been lucky with the artist and everything, and it seems to be working out. So hopefully I can just be consistent.
Yeah. And you're gonna do an art book for every issue now?
I think so, because of the popularity of them. So, and if you're already doing the covers, it's just a matter of assembling them in a certain way so that it's smooth together. So the covers will be there already,
Yeah, so it's not like extra art going in. It's no. all the various covers. That way, people don't have to go through their boxes, or if they send them off to get graded, they're like, oh, I really wish I had that. Oh, I got the art book. Never mind.
Yeah.
It's basically a catalog for especially for those people that have to have like one of everything,
right,
to to be able to keep track of their books.
Yeah,
it's a great idea. So I want to thank you very much for coming on, and
thank you.
It's been a pleasure getting to meet you and talk to you. And on the way out, we're going to take a look at the trailer for Mavericks Volume 1.
Cool.
Now available on Indiegogo.
Oh, and
War is a topic of vital importance, a subject of inquiry that cannot be ignored. It is a matter of life and death. It can be a road to safety or to ruin.
In an alternate version of our world, brought to the brink of total collapse, rival nations fight for global domination, and elite pilots in futuristic combat suits wage war on the battlefield of tomorrow. Now, 6 brave soldiers on a seemingly routine rescue mission will encounter more than they bargained for and uncover a dangerous secret that could change their world if they live long enough to see it. Mavericks Origins Volume 1.
Now on Indiegogo.
I'm sorry I cut you off when I hit the button.
No, I was digging that, man. I was going to say your theme music was incredible. I was really enjoying it.
Oh, thanks. I have no idea what my theme music is.
Oh, it's pretty amazing riffs, guitar riffs. I loved it.
It was through another podcaster, another actual comic book creators, friends of a mutual friend of theirs, who lent me a hand because I didn't know how to do anything like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You got a logo?" "Yep." "Okay. What kind of music you like?" "I like rock and roll." "Okay, that's easy."
Yeah.
And like 40 seconds later, in my inbox was that, and I was like, "Awesome!"
Yeah, it really had some interesting guitar work and nice rhythm to it. It's very cool, very catchy. But Mavericks was beautiful, man. I was digging that.
They just about got that trailer edited together about 20 minutes before they went live.
It's amazing.
Yeah. A lot of people have asked me, goes, is that a new animated film?
It looks like.
I'm like, no, it's a book, but yeah, they did a great job. They got a couple of animators that he knew, and he went to film school, so doing the layout for that, he finally put his education to good work, and
quite amazing.
Came out with something great.
Yep.
So everybody, go check out Witches of Westchester. Campaign is still running for another 10 days. Do not miss out. Lots of covers, lots of perks, lots of everything. There's foil covers, there's nice covers, there's naughty covers, there's t-shirts, there's mega packs, and there's even a special tier where you can get a collection of 11 books that predates this one. So you can read everything that Alton's written over the last few years. So please go check it out, and we will catch you next time on Creators Outlet.